name quarterbacks in the NFL in the first 2 weeks last year had 5 touchdowns or more. Andy Dalton, Kirk Cousins, Blake Bortles. It can be fool's gold. So we look at Dak, and he's got a new coordinator, and nobody's got film on Kellen Moore, and the Cowboys are healthy, and they played 2 lousy teams. Nick, are you buying the Dak we're watching right now?
I'm giving Dak enormous credit for the Dak I've seen through 2 weeks this year. I didn't think we'd see this Dak Prescott through 2 weeks. He's 330 yards a game, 80% completions, a 140 passer rating, and he's not doing it with dinks and dunks as Dak was derided for doing early in his career. He's 11 yards per attempt. If we're doing a way too early MVP rankings, he would be 3rd for me in the entire league. Do I think it's sustainable? No. Would I still be comfortable paying him $34 million a year? No. Do I have to open up the possibility that a light came on for him, however, once they got Amari Cooper, and look at these last 12 games, 8 in the regular season, 2 in the playoffs, 2 at the beginning of this regular season, where they're 10-2 and where he's been in large part exceptional, and recognize the possibility that he is now a different player? I do have to recognize that possibility, but I don't believe in changing preseason predictions or picks after 1/8 of the season. Let me at least get a quarter or a third of the season before I do that. So I'm still skeptical on Dak Prescott, the top 10 quarterback in the league, even though through 2 weeks he's been a top 3 quarterback in the league.
Well, first impressions matter, and Dak came into this league as a 4th rounder. It's why for years nobody bought Russell Wilson, a 3rd rounder. Yes. It's why 5 years into his career, Brady, a 6th rounder, was a system quarterback. Let's transition to Baker Mayfield, who enters the league as a number 1 pick and a Heisman guy. But if you look at Baker's numbers since he entered the league and you compare him to Dak, I mean, if they were on the same team, you'd have a backup and a starter. My takeaway on Baker is I think it's become a hot, hype 24/7 mess in Cleveland. I'm not sure Baker's nearly as good as 90% of the media thinks. What did you make of Monday Night Football where Baker still looked out of sorts?
Baker played very poorly on Monday night. They were lucky they were playing the Jets. And I heard you talking about Freddie Kitchens' inexplicable play calling at the end of the game. The moment Odell took it 90 yards to the house and reminded everyone, yeah, he's still actually the best in the whole world at that. They should have never thrown the ball again. They could have taken knees the rest of the night and I'd have been fine with it. And yet they were calling a pass play with 2:05 left in the game, up 20. That's indefensible. That's poor coaching. I don't care what Freddie Kitchens said afterwards. Baker has not played well yet this season. I don't think it's fair to compare a quarterback in year 4 to Baker right now. And if you're going to say, well, Dak's rookie year, he was exceptional. I would bet money that Baker's second year is going to end up being statistically far better than Dak's second year, and the team's going to be better. But yes, first impressions matter, but a lot of that is because in sports, first impressions draft placement is based on raw talent and ability. Your guy, Sam Darnold, right now is living off of who he was in college. In the pros, he has not been markedly better than what? Josh Allen? Has he been markedly better than a guy who would be fighting for a starting job if he wasn't 3rd overall pick from USC? No, but usually the talent wins out. I'll bet on Baker's talent, but if you want to say he's been disappointing through 2 weeks this year, that is totally fair and accurate. Luckily, on Monday night, he had the best receiver in the league. The guy who once upon I told you was the most talented player in all of football, bail him out a couple times.
Yeah, whatever. All right, let's move to this. I generally have kind of an action distraction meter, and I am generally not into high-maintenance players. It's a math equation. Outside of quarterbacks, even OBJ's probably worth a point. Jalen Ramsey is very interesting. He is the best corner in the league. 50 games, 50 starts. He's a large, physical, excellent tackling corner. And there are teams in this league, and I look at them and I think, if I'm a good team, and I have to face in my division multiple star players, or there's an obstacle to the Super Bowl, I could argue Seattle having to face McVay and Goff and Shanahan and Garoppolo and Kyler Murray. Seattle could roll the dice on a top corner and just shut the best guy out. Where do you think Jalen Ramsey, because I think I'd roll the dice on his distraction versus action quotient. Where would you put him? Where's the spot?
Well, I mean, obviously, the team that's being attached to him and the team that would go from Super Bowl co-favorites with New England to prohibitive Super Bowl favorites happens to be the team from the city that I'm from, Kansas City. He's the best player at his position, and that is the single biggest position of need for the Kansas City Chiefs. And they are instant Super Bowl favorites with him. They might be Super Bowl favorites already. They do have the best player in the whole league in Patrick Mahomes. I don't think Jalen Ramsey is a big distraction to the players. I think he can be a headache to the coaches. But to kind of misquote Don Draper, hey, coaches, that's what the money's for. You draft wildly talented, rich, 20-something-year-olds, you deal with them. If Jalen Ramsey ends up not being a Jacksonville Jaguar, it is the way I've heard Steve Young and other people phrase it, as if it is a sign of the sky falling in the NFL. It will be a sign of absolute organizational malfeasance by the Jaguars. A total failure. You take a guy in the top 5. He instantly is even better than you could have been expected. As you pointed, 50 games, 50 starts, 50 times all-pro level performance. He's the best guy on your team. 3 things can make him happy: winning, money, playing the way he wants to play. Well, you're not winning because you've never addressed the quarterback situation adequately. No money because you won't pay him even though the rest of his top 5 has gotten their second contracts. And you won't let him play the way he wants to play because stylistically it doesn't fit with what your coordinator wants to do. You're 0 for 3 on making things relevant and making things good for your best guy. I can't imagine if FS1 was like, hey, Colin and Skip, no contract extensions, you're changing your shows, and by the way, we're gonna do the shows without lighting. See how it's good for your ratings. You guys might want to get the hell out of here. And it wouldn't be your fault. It would be the network's fault. So the Jags not finding a way to keep Jalen Ramsey happy is a failure by them. If it ends up being he plays for my hometown Kansas City Chiefs, all the better. I like the Seattle fit a lot as well. I thought they maybe could have gone after Minka. They didn't want to pay the price the Steelers paid.
Hey, I got 30 seconds here. I just want your takeaway. You're in New York City. I think it's a perfect time for Eli to sit and Daniel to play. Oh, Josh Allen comes into your stadium, a project. And I mean, Daniel Jones is more NFL ready to me than Josh Allen, and Josh Allen beats you on Sunday. I think the timing's perfect. How is it playing in New York?
Well, I think that people were ready for the Daniel Jones era to start, but as has been many the case with decisions made under Dave Gettleman, he tries to have it both ways and you have it no ways. If you try to drive in both lanes, sometimes you're on the median and you crash the car. The time to bench Eli Manning was not 6 days ago or 6 hours ago. It was 6 months ago. When you can save $17 million, hand the keys over to Daniel Jones. If you're going to let him start the year and you're going to say he might have 2 good years left and the owner's going to say hopefully Daniel Jones won't play all year, you got to give him more than 7 quarters of football, which is what he got. It was right for they bent over backwards last 5 years to do right by Eli Manning and yet still managed to disrespect him in how they benched him, unless, of course, conspiracy theory alert, this was about Eli's career record not dipping below 500, because if you don't think that would come up in the Hall of Fame meeting, you're crazy. He's 116 and 116, so maybe they did him a favor. Otherwise, I thought they should have either cut him in March or given him at least a month of football.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from The Herd or go watch a few segments from other shows on FS1.